The Bikeriders is directed by Jeff Nichols. It stars Jodie Comer, Tom Hardy, Austin Butler, and Michael Shannon. And in this movie, we follow a popular American biker gang. We see how they rose to the top and how they fell. Now, this movie was supposed to come out last year, but because of the strikes, it was pushed back to December. And then because Disney are idiots, they just sold it off. Thankfully, it was picked up and it's now being released in cinemas. And this was a movie that I was actually pretty excited to see. It looked like Goodfellas with biker gangs. And I love Goodfellas. I'm missing these sort of like old gangster films like Martin Scorsese style. So this was a film I was actually really intrigued to see. And I went into the cinema with plenty of optimism. And I'm happy to say that The Bikeriders is nothing great, but it's good. I had a good time with this one. If I had to describe this movie in one sentence, I would say it's a fun throwback movie to the old Scorsese gangster films like Goodfellas and Casino. It has the same vibe and tone of those films, and even takes many visual and story elements from those films. And while I do appreciate the inspiration and how it tries to relate to those films, I do think that's its biggest problem. The biggest problem is that it's trying to be Goodfellas with biker gangs. It's not trying to do its own thing, really. And that's its biggest problem. Some of the characters and story elements are very, very, very reliant on scenes and moments from Goodfellas, which is fine. Like, Goodfellas is a great movie. It's good to take inspiration from that film. But when we're clearly ripping off things from that, it kind of just makes this film seem like a cheap rip-off. But even though this film did feel very formulaic and a rip-off, it's still a good time. The storytelling here is not bad. The things it takes from those films is written well here for the most part. For one, I think the biker gang here was really interesting. I liked seeing how it worked, how leadership was formed, their rules, how it came to be. It's really interesting. And to see the rise and fall of it, how it gradually happened, was really interesting to me. And the biker gang aspect is really where this film stands out from those old Scorsese films. The character writing though was a little bit mixed for me. I did like Tom Hardy's character, Johnny. He's the leader of this biker gang. I liked seeing how he got inspired to make it, where it came from, his rise and fall. This is very much his story, in a way. The biker gang's downfall is his downfall as well. It's written really well, and I really liked his ending. And how his mind is twisted in a way to see how this biker gang and how he went down the wrong path. And there is another character called just the Kid. That's what I'm seeing on IMDb and Letterboxd. He's just called the Kid. And he's a very, I wouldn't say likeable, but he has a backstory which is very bad, very tragic. It makes you understand why he wants to join the biker gang. And his ending was good. But I do think that he was kind of forgotten about for most of the film. He could have been a really great character. But he's not focused on enough to make, his story and side of things more impactful. These characters, and many other characters, are very reminiscent of characters from Goodfellas and Casino. You get Tom Hardy's character, family man, in a sense, but, he goes down this maniacal path. And, it, as I said, felt like a rip-off at times. I also didn't really think the other characters in this film were that interesting. Benny and Kathy's relationship is very likeable. You like their relationship. But apart from their romance, they've really got nothing about them, really. Other characters such as Danny and Michael Shannon's Zipco, great name by the way, they tried to give them some backstory to make you like them. Zipco has the better one, I'd say. But it's not enough to make you fully care about them. But what I will say is that all these characters stand out. They all have personality. And they're very fun to watch, even if they're not that interesting. But what makes this film stand out is its technical aspects. This is a wonderfully shot movie. Some of the cinematography here, actually beautiful. There's this shot of a bar burning down. And I like how you just focus on the fire and there's those shadows of the characters standing in a line. And you see the firemen to the side of them watching them. That was such a really cool shot. And there's many shots like that. I like how the camera moved as well. How it was nice and smooth when the biker gang is riding through the streets. Felt like the camera guy was on a motorcycle smoothly watching these bike riders just go past them. And I also appreciate that this film had some grain and imperfection to it. You know, there's like black spots everywhere. There's times where the camera like goes bubbly, like an old film. It really helped fit the time period of late 60s, early 70s where this film is set in. This film is also edited really well, and I appreciate that they didn't rush it. This film is just under 2 hours. It did feel a little longer. It's definitely a bit of a slow burn. But I don't know, I kind of appreciate that they took their time. They didn't tell the story well, but I at least, you know, appreciate the fact that they tried to take their time with the story, make things a lot more impactful and intriguing. And also the way they present this time period, late 60s, early 70s, is brilliant. The music, the costumes, the makeup, the set designs, all absolutely brilliant. It feels like you're really watching characters in that time period. And finally, the performances here are all really great. They're all great. We have a right star-studded cast here. Tom Hardy's great. I don't think you need me to tell you that though, because it's Tom Hardy. Austin Butler and Jodie Comer are electric, and they have some really strong chemistry with each other that makes the characters' romance feel a lot more real. And Michael Shannon as Zipco, as I said, not the most interesting character, but he was actually pretty funny, and he looked like he was having a blast in the role. He was very entertaining. So overall, The Bikeriders does feel muddled and a bit of a rip-off of other amazing films. But I still had a good time with it, man. The story's interesting enough. There's some characters there that are interesting, and even if they're not, they're very likeable. They all have distinct personalities. It's a wonderfully shot, directed movie. Great set design, great music, good editing, amazing performances. This is a movie I'd highly suggest you watch. It may not be great, but I still had a good time with this one. I'd really highly suggest it if you like bikes, though. If you like motorbikes, this is a must-watch for you, 100%. So yeah, The Bikeriders feels like a bit of a rip-off of like Goodfellas and Casino, with a bit of change in there with the bike rider aspect. But I still had a good time with this one. I highly suggest you watch it. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Not great, but still a pretty good ride. And guys, that's it for the end of this review. If you have seen The Bikeriders, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments. Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a good day. I'll see you later.